Hello, my dear little and big listeners. It is that time again. Grab a cookie, a tea, or cocoa, and get cozy. Because it is time for a magical fairy tale again. You can find the recipe in the description or at the end of the video. And today, I will take you into the kingdom of Little Red Riding Hood. Come along with me. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl. Everyone who saw her loved her, but most of all, her grandmother. She didn't know what else to give the child. One day, she gave her a little cap made of red velvet because it looked so good on her and she didn't want to wear anything else. She was always called Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother said to her, "Come, Little Red Riding Hood, here is a piece of cake and a bottle of wine. Take this out to grandmother. She is sick and weak, and this will make her feel better. Start your walk before it gets hot. And when you go out, walk nicely and don't leave the path. Otherwise, you might fall and break the glass, and grandmother will have nothing. And when you enter her room, don't forget to say good morning and don't just look around in every corner." "I will do everything well," said Little Red Riding Hood to her mother and gave her her hand on it. The grandmother lived out in the woods, half an hour from the village. When Little Red Riding Hood entered the woods, she met the wolf. But Little Red Riding Hood did not know what a wicked beast he was, and she was not afraid of him. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," he said. "Thank you, wolf." "Where are you going so early, Little Red Riding Hood?" "To my grandmother." "What are you carrying under your apron?" "Cake and wine we baked yesterday. It will do the sick and weak grandmother good and make her stronger." "Little Red Riding Hood, where does your grandmother live?" "A good quarter of an hour further in the woods. Her house is under the 3 big oak trees. The nut hedges are down there. You must know that," said Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf thought to himself, "This young tender thing is a rich prize. She will taste even better than the old woman. You must be clever, so you can catch both." He walked next to Little Red Riding Hood for a little while. Then he said, "Little Red Riding Hood, look at the beautiful flowers standing all around. Why don't you look around? I think you don't even hear how beautiful the little birds are singing. You are walking along as if you were going to school. And it is so cheerful out here in the woods." Little Red Riding Hood opened her eyes. When she saw how the sunbeams danced through the trees and that there were beautiful flowers everywhere, she thought, "If I bring grandmother a fresh bouquet of flowers, she will be happy. It is so early in the day that I will still arrive at the right time." She ran off the path into the woods and looked for flowers, and whenever she picked one, she thought there was a more beautiful one further ahead. So she ran after it and went deeper and deeper into the woods. But the wolf went straight to the grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Who is out there?" "Little Red Riding Hood, bringing cake and wine. Open up." "Just press the latch," cried the grandmother. "I am too weak and cannot get up." The wolf pressed the latch. The door sprang open, and without saying a word, he went straight to the grandmother's bed and swallowed her up. Then he put on her clothes, placed her cap on his head, laid down in her bed, and drew the curtains. But Little Red Riding Hood had been running around looking for flowers. When she had gathered so many that she could not carry any more, she remembered her grandmother and started her way to her. She was surprised that the door was open. When she entered the room, it felt so strange that she thought, "Oh my goodness, why do I feel so scared today when I usually love being with grandmother so much?" She called out, "Good morning," but she got no answer. So she went to the bed and drew back the curtains. There lay the grandmother with her cap pulled low over her face, looking very strange. "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have!" "The better to hear you with." "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have!" "The better to see you with." "Oh, grandmother, what big hands you have!" "The better to grab you with." "But, grandmother, what a terribly large mouth you have!" "The better to eat you with." Hardly had the wolf said this when he made a jump out of the bed and swallowed poor Little Red Riding Hood. When the wolf had satisfied his appetite, he lay down in the bed again, fell asleep, and began to snore very loudly. A hunter was just passing the house and thought, "How the old woman is snoring! I must see if she needs anything." He walked into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw the wolf lying in it. "So I find you here, you old sinner," he said. "I have looked for you for a long time." He was about to aim his gun when he thought that the wolf might have eaten the grandmother, and then she could be still saved. He did not shoot, but took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the sleeping wolf's belly. After a few cuts, he saw the red cap shining. After a few more cuts, the girl jumped out and cried, "Oh, I was so scared. It was so dark inside the wolf." And then the grandmother came out alive too and could hardly breathe. Little Red Riding Hood quickly fetched large stones, and they filled the wolf's belly with them. When he woke up, he wanted to spring away, but the stones were so heavy that he sank down immediately and fell dead. Then all three were happy. The hunter took the wolf's fur and went home with it. The grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine that Little Red Riding Hood had brought and felt better again. But Little Red Riding Hood thought to herself, "I will never run off the path into the woods by myself again, as long as I live, when my mother has forbidden it." It is also told that once when Little Red Riding Hood brought baked goods to her old grandmother again, another wolf spoke to her and tried to make her leave the path. But Little Red Riding Hood was careful and went straight ahead on her way. She told her grandmother that she had met the wolf and that he had said good day, but had looked at her with such evil eyes. "If I hadn't been on the open road, he would have eaten me up," she said. "Come," said the grandmother. "We will lock the door so he cannot come in." Soon after, the wolf knocked and cried, Open up, grandmother, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood, bringing you baked goods. But they kept quiet and did not open the door. The grey wolf crept around the house a few times and finally jumped onto the roof. He wanted to wait until the evening when Little Red Riding Hood went home, so he could sneak after her and eat her in the dark. But the grandmother noticed what he was planning. There was a large stone trough in front of the house. She said to the child, "Take the bucket, Little Red Riding Hood. Yesterday I cooked sausages. Carry the water they were cooked in and pour it into the trough." Little Red Riding Hood carried the water until the large trough was completely full. The smell of the sausages rose up to the wolf's nose. He sniffed and looked down. Finally, he stretched his neck out so far that he could not hold himself any longer and began to slip. He slipped off the roof, fell straight into the large trough, and drowned. Little Red Riding Hood went home happily, and no one did her any harm. With that, we leave the fairy tale kingdom for today. To all the little elves who have to go to bed now, sleep well and have sweet dreams. To everyone else, I wish you a magical time. Hopefully, we will hear each other again for the next fairy tale. I look forward to it. See you soon, and stay enchanted.